We're playing 20 cards from Avatar that we've never played before. um, there's been a lot of questions about porting the standard lessons deck over to modern, although this archetypally I feel like is pretty different from how the standard lessons deck seems to play. But I will say that I think there's a few things I overlooked about Sweet Deer Gran-Gran. So Sweet Deer Gran-Gran is a 1 mana 1/2. The stats of being a 1/2 honestly really good in the Lava Dart format. Whenever it becomes tapped, you draw a card, then discard a card. I think this has played so far a lot better than I expected it to. I'll say I did a good bit of testing yesterday on the shell. The loot has looked really good, and then I think another thing I kind of failed to realize is that when you're pairing Gran-Gran alongside Emry, alongside a lot of cheap other card advantage, you don't your total lesson count doesn't need to be that high for it to be, you know, pretty functional to get 3 lessons in the graveyard to both turn on Gran-Gran to be a cost reducer and to have Accumulate Wisdom be a 1 mana draw 3 that doesn't even trigger Bowmaster or like it's stopped by Narset, which is really nice. So I've been really impressed with this card, and then so it's like so Gran-Gran is good alongside this 12 card package. It's possible that you could play also like Price of Freedom, in this shell or a different shell, or maybe you could play Redirect Lightning. You could play the Burst Lightning if you wanted to be a little bit more in on Gran-Gran. I think that'd be fine. But I so far this has been fine, especially having some extra help with Emry being able to mill some cards from the deck. Um, so we've got Abandoned Attachment to just discard a card, draw 2. Not very good, although it does become 1 mana with Gran-Gran online. Boomerang Basics, which is a bounce a non-land permanent for 1 blue to sorcery, but if you bounce your own thing, you get to draw a card. So a lot of times it's just cycles for 0 mana because you're going to bounce an Amber or an Opal and draw a card. And if doing that is also nice with Tamiyo, that makes it a bit easier to flip Tamiyo quickly. Just have 0 mana draw a card available, and then of course Accumulate Wisdom just can be a powerful draw 3. So this is kind of the core of the deck here, right? You've got your 11 legendary creatures. Now I did have the 4th Emry for a little bit. And I ended up feeling like I wanted to play one less legendary creature. And I think Emry is the one because Gran-Gran can do stuff the turn you play it, right? Because you can go Gran-Gran and have it be a cost reducer immediately when you top deck it, or you can go Gran-Gran, tap it to drum, trigger the Gran-Gran. And then Tamiyo, you can play and flip Tamiyo all at once. But Emry is a card you have to untap with, so I feel like it's the one that you don't really want to have multiple copies of if that's the one you have to pick. It's also one that's a bit harder to play on turn 1, so I think that's another reason to have this be the cut. But you got you have your mana, and now we are a 14 land deck. We're about 86.5% to have a land in our opening hand. Although you do have a small range of keepable 0 landers, but you just have to play very few lands because we have 25 mana sources in the deck. You have 25 mana sources in the deck, and if you're gonna play all of this artifact mana, your actual land count has to be pretty low. And so you also might notice we're not playing Urza Saga in this deck, and that's because in order for our 1 mana blue spells to be castable, we need minimum 14 untapped blue sources turn 1. I don't really want to play more than 14 lands, which means there's just not room for colorless utility lands like Urza Saga. Saga's also kind of a little bit off plan too, because how we're actually winning the game is we're ramping into Legend of Kuruk and Time Warp. And so this is kind of a taking turns deck. This is going to be something that gives you like turn 3 goldfishes, like a pretty big chunk of the time, which is important for a deck like this to be able to compete. Although I will say, in my early drafts of the deck, what I was really trying to do was I was trying to just draw a lot of cards and use Sync and Boomerang Basics to just like stop my opponent and then like kill them with Pinnacle Emissary. But this has been better so far. So obviously, you'll know Time Warp, 5 mana, take an extra turn. Although this is really nice to just be 4 mana, take a turn with Gran-Gran sometimes. But we're also playing Legend of Kuruk. So this is a saga with 3 chapters, and this is also our win condition. So I like that this is like it's kind of like Legend of Roku, where it's a good card advantage spell to ramp into. It preordains on chapter 1 and 2, but also chapter 3 is our win condition. So it says whenever you cast a spell, you make a 1/1 colorless spirit token, and then you could waterbend 20 to take an extra turn. And you can only do that once per Legend of Kuruk. And so the way this plays is like a lot of times you're playing Kuruk on turn 2, sometimes turn 3 if you have a slower hand. We have so much ramp that it's not too tough to play this turn 2. And you use this to facilitate your draws, find a Time Warp, take an extra turn, find another Time Warp, and then and then eventually you're going to just flood the board, take an extra turn, and attack for lethal is the deck's game plan. You also have Tamiyo Time Warp. Tamiyo plays so well with Time Warp where you're able to like tick up, Time Warp, tick down, Time Warp again, and so this like helps a lot with the taking turns plan as well. Sideboard certainly a work in progress. One thing I will say, Yawgmoth has really been popular, so I had the plan of cutting the Emrys and bringing in Cursed Totems in that matchup. I think a lot else could change about the sideboard. Against stuff like Boros and Prowess, I'm mostly just planning on trying to go out Goldfish to them, and we'll see how that goes. You also, of course, it's one thing that I really like about this deck compared to maybe other affinity builds. I guess it's maybe not that different, but just having 4 Boomerang Basics, 4 Sync means that you can bounce stuff like Clarion Conqueror, Karn without too much issue if you feel like you need to unlock your artifact mana. We are on the draw with a hand that's very good if we draw Tamiyo, Emry, or Gran-Gran, and we have several redraws at all of them between Draw Step, Boomerang Basics, and Bauble. I'm going to think that this is a keepable 7. But it's possible that with more experience in the deck, that will not be the case. That's true, yeah. Jed's Worlds cards will be a big deal for Primal Prayers. I think so, too. Am I going to play the Mana Traders Tournament Saturday? No, I've got some plans on Saturday. Okay, I'm the draw against a Devourer of Destiny. Would you still play Oracle and Paper? So Infinite Life doesn't beat Titan. I think of all the top decks, that's kind of the only deck Infinite Life doesn't really beat at the moment. I guess there are some Yawgmoth loops that can deal infinite damage, but they're like honestly a little obscure. All right, so I'm going to be cracking the Bauble. Because usually Yawg is bound by their deck size to deal infinite damage, but they can deal infinite damage with Cauldron, Ballista, Dredger's Insight, and Yawgmoth. Where they can actually not draw a card. If they sack the Young Wolf to target itself, they don't get to draw the card, and so that's infinite sacks, which lets them deal infinite damage with the Young Wolf ping. It's like I don't know if you should expect the average Yawg player to know that is even a combo. Oh, turn 2 Ice Till. Cool. They're then they did hit a Nugan's Lab. Geist with Ballista and Dork under Cauldron is also infinite. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the haste on Geist wasn't something I'd really thought about. Can you loop Greenstone Zenith? I guess you could. Just make a mana Greenstone back into your deck. Would I add Cub to Primal Prayers? I don't know, maybe. I think that could be a good show for it. I do think that like more ways to win faster with that deck has certainly been what I've been craving. The Myco Spawn? I think I'll scoop the turn 2 Ice Till, turn 3 Myco Spawn. Also, our draws really didn't get there. Still, the range of keepable hands is still kind of weird to me. Another thing too is I feel like our normal plan is pretty good against them, but this is an early draft of a blue deck, so I have 4 consigns in the sideboard. I do think Normal Tron is also going to be worse for us. I think I'm going to go down at least 1 Legend, 1 Time Warp, since the consigns give me like a better late game that I don't need to lean into as much. I think we can maybe cut Emry number 4. And then I guess we can cut Drum number 3 since Gran-Gran gets to attack pretty often here. I haven't done any testing. Yeah, I did. I probably spent like 5 hours off stream last night. A lot of different versions. I definitely feel like there's some good stuff going on. At the moment, I think what I'm struggling with the most is like, what hand is a keep and what matchup and what hand is a mulligan. I've definitely kept a lot of hands just trying to figure out like, is this a 7 I should be keeping? Where I've got a lot of outs for the hands to be pretty nuts, but the hand isn't nuts because I just brick on like 3 draw steps. So should I be mulliganing these? Should I be keeping them? I'm trying to figure that out, but I think this deck is showing promise for sure. Arayo is the missing piece here. I've hated Arayo when I've played it recently. It certainly seems like it could be okay here. Like its effect has straight up not been good against decks like Storm, Prowess, Titan, Solitude decks. It's just like it has not it has not seemed a very effective tool when I've played Arayo in the past. I flipped Arayo on turn 2 and like lost the game by like turn 4 like really often. um Mishra's Bauble decks, it's just like I have not been impressed by it. All right, gonna keep this on the play. Is Gemstone Caverns over totems in the sideboard so it'd be fast? We already have a lot of fast mana. I don't think I want to play Gemstone Caverns. Gemstone Caverns is also like a nightmare to draw a colorless land. That's why we're not even playing sagas. The Legend of Kuruk is surprising to see here. Yeah, it's like I think it's weirdly the best possible thing we could have in this deck. Where I do think that we want to be trying to win with Time Warps, Time Warps and Legend of Kuruk, which also like those two cards play really well together. Okay, that's maybe one I should have played around. Although we can boomerang it back to their hand. Although this turn I think I'll just hold up the Consign / the Clue token. But it's been good. Like it's very similar. You can play it on turn 2, which is I think really exciting. In a lot of ways, it's similar to the Legend of Roku, where it's just a powerful 4-mana card advantage spell that's been good that transforms into something your opponent has to deal with and is like pretty annoying for them to deal with. So again, just been liking it so far. I agree that it's one that people haven't really seen. In a new archetype, like I'm wondering is what cards were tested that got cut in the testing process. So I had Pinnacle Emissary in this build for a while. I was thinking that it was important for the Legend of Kuruk, but I ended up finding that Time Warp gives you faster wins, the ability to win from positions where you're further behind, and Time Warp is also better with the Legend of Kuruk anyways. So they kind of got kind of swapped. The number of Emrys changed a lot. The number of 1-mana creatures changed a lot. I was trying more lessons. I was trying bloodbending tactics or whatever. What the water bend control your opponent plan, and that was also part of why I had Pinnacle Emissary in the deck. Was I was trying to water bend out that sorcery to just Mind Slaver my opponent for a turn. It was definitely a cool card, but it ended up not testing very well. And that's when I started moving away from those into the Legend of Kuruk, and then when I had the Legend of Kuruk, I realized that it wasn't playing as well with Pinnacle Emissary as Bloodbending Tactics was, so I ended up cutting those for Time Warps, and then while switching the numbers around a little bit. So that's I hope that gives you a little taste of how the process for this one went. All right, let's go to combat. This is 1 card drawn for Tamiyo. The Gran-Gran, or two cards, I guess. All right, let's discard the Bauble. Then bounce their Vexing Bauble. Get to play out the Opal. And play Emry. Maybe we'll get lucky and mill 2 lessons. We did mill 1 lesson, but instead of just casting this, we'll just flip the Tamiyo here. Now I could play this as a land, but holding it for Vexing Bauble could also be good. I can also just minus on the Boomerang Basics, so yeah, I'll play this as a land. Yeah, you could bring in Harbinger. Harbinger is like very high variance against the Talisman, Utopia Sprawl, Eldrazi, though. Also, they have like K-Return. In all my Ryo brews, strangely the best performing one was a Days Undoing list. Interesting, yeah. Yeah, Tamiyo is like one of our best cards for sure. They have a Chrysalis, Mycospawn. Honestly, Bojuka Bog would be pretty annoying here. Although if they get Bojuka Bog, they can't cast the Vexing Bauble again. I'm shocked how many people have your stream up while playing leagues. I mean, the league gamers are my target audience, I guess. They end up getting Ugin's Labyrinth, Imprinting Sire, and probably playing the Vexing Bauble again. Talisman into Vexing Bauble, I guess. So we can minus on the Time Warp if we want. Seems like kind of minimum okay. Although usually I like to try to get the Legend of Kuruk down first if I can. Yeah, I think we do that, then we like minus on Consign potentially. Although we found a Consign, so we don't even need to do that. So let's go ahead and go top. Play the Mox Amber. Oh, sorry, the Mox Amber gets Vexing Baubled. Well, that's a problem-o. I guess I could have left the sink on top and then attacked. I guess we'll just go minus on the time warp then. Not sure like what 7-drop we're super scared of. Maybe Ugin. Them having Ugin would make some sense with the decision to get Ugin's Lab instead of Eldrazi Temple. Is this deck a banger? Looking for something fun to play in challenge? It's been good. I wouldn't call it a banger. Our on-stream record today is not very good, but I feel like a lot of our like losses so far have been me trying to figure out like, is this a keep? Is this a mulligan? Sequencing stuff. So this deck is really weird and complicated, and it's not one that I feel like have a good answer for how strong it is for a little bit. So they're not playing Ugin. They're tapping the Eldrazi Temple for Eldrazi mana. Looks like maybe a second Myco spawn. Maybe getting the Bog this time. I have a thought of Cauldron putting Emry under Gran-Gran. So I that's another thing. I was trying to build this as VV Cauldron for a little bit, and ended up in this direction. The main reason I ended in this direction instead of VV Cauldron is that it felt like because the creatures I had were really small, it was really weird that I just didn't end up having much good stuff to put under the Cauldron, or much good stuff to Cauldron VV onto. And maybe that's a problem that we could solve. Tamiyo tends to not play very well in VV Cauldron too. Um, that was my experience in the past. So definitely some weird stuff, but some options. Well, let's go bottom, top. Attack with Gran-Gran. Draw a card, discard, and accumulate wisdom. Let them block, I guess. Draw 3. Draw 3. Might be drawing too many cards. Yeah, I'll just let this happen, and then just discarding one card here. I guess another Tamiyo. Kind of a weird spot. But we don't really need Replicate Consign up because they have the Cavern. We just need to stop the Emrakul mind control. We should be good. Just guy listened with Narset. Yeah, I was thinking about with Narset too. There's just a lot of options. There's a lot of options. I like one thing too is we're trying to figure out like the general like package of cards here. It's just a lot to do. A lot of people playing this Emrakul art. Not usually the biggest fan of this specific style, but I think I like this one. All right, so we're taking 6 down to 11. We should be winning this game though. Ideally, we could find another bounce spell soon. I guess we could totally brick and then not get the time warp off if we cast the wisdom. Well, that's what happened. So now I guess we're looking for a bounce spell to free ourselves from the Vexing Bauble. Although, shoot, sorry, I shouldn't have. I guess I'm messing all kinds of things up here because I shouldn't have discarded Emry because Emry could have blocked here. Okay, find the Boomerang Basics. After a lot of consign the Bauble trigger. Okay, consign if I consign a Bauble trigger to play a land that I can only do that one time, and I go -1 mana for +1 mana, so that doesn't do anything, right? Although, is it better to activate the Kuruk here or Time Warp? Should it really matter which order we do it in, I guess? I don't actually know that we have enough to activate the Kuruk. I think we're probably a little short, honestly. Yeah, 20 is so much. We're not super far off. We won't be able to do it next turn, but You have 20. Okay. Well, if we have 20, we just also do it next turn. So either order's fine. Jovi, the 4 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. 0 mana Springleaf Drum. I guess I'll just show them that I have another time warp. Again, this game's over. We're just, leisurely taking turns until they feel like they've seen enough. And they've seen enough. And we go to game 3. Yeah, Legend of Kuruk just it's kind of, I think this card just is like weirdly the perfect fit for this build. All right, let's go to game 3. I think I like the sideboard plan. Again, the sideboard plans, it's tough to figure out. It's like sideboard plans mulligans with this deck. The deck is so weird, but I think it's showing a lot of promise. Why no Harbinger? I said this, Harbinger's very polarized against Eldrazi. They have Dismember, they have Talisman, they have Utopia Sprawl, they have K-Return. It's very easy for Harbinger to be like 3 mana do nothing. It's very easy to like get blown out when you play it. Sometimes it will just randomly win you the game. And so, especially on the draw, I think it's too polarizing. It could be part of what you want to play on the play, but again, I just don't have all the answers. This deck is a bit too weird for me to feel like I have even a good handful of answers here. Yeah, same thing with Ashiok. Ashiok is just really very hit or miss against them. And I'm trying to figure out the sideboard plans. I'll say this: if your comment begins with "why no," I would love if you would help do some of the work and help me figure it out and help me figure out these sideboard plans. What would you cut if you wanted to include these? Is it never been more relevant than this deck? How has Kuruk felt? I guess you didn't watch last game, but Kuruk has felt like the perfect fit here. I love being able to cast it turn 2. It has been an awesome combination card advantage win condition. It has been like kind of the perfect card advantage win condition for what this deck is doing specifically. Why no Trespass? Yeah, what would you cut for Trespass? I think Time Warp is a good bit better with the Tamiyos in general. It's possible we could do a different split. I don't know. I need a little help. Okay, I guess I'm gonna keep this. Can it be an Urza Saga deck? So at the moment, we're playing. You need minimum 14 untapped blue sources with this many 1 mana blue cards. I would not cut a land for an Urza Saga, and we have 25 mana sources right now with no Urza Saga. So I think it's very tough to include. Obviously, you could play Urza Saga in this deck, but again, it is a lot tougher to include in this deck than you might think it is. They do have another Vexing Bauble. All right, I guess we're gonna play this a little slower. Like abandoned attachments. I might just go 3 mana Emry. We'll see. Did I purposely pick my sword for this deck? No, it's just kind of chilly outside. So they rumble over 2 Myco Spawns and a K command. So they are going to put a Myco Spawn in their hand here. Yeah, only 12 lessons total. I was also playing the Bloodbending card, Secret of Bloodbending. I think that's the name of it. And that card was okay when I had Pinnacle Emissary, but it was definitely the weak link. And I would love to play some more lessons, but the list is kind of tight, and Emry helps with like milling over lessons, and you'll get them online with only 12. That definitely is the kind of deck that some more good lessons get printed, and then all of a sudden the deck is a good bit better. Abandoned attachments helps some too. I guess I could go basics the Bauble, play Gran-Gran. Yeah. Okay, basics the Bauble. Play Mox Amber, play Gran-Gran, basics my own Amber. Draw a card. Okay, and then I can Emry. And then I do mill another lesson, so my wisdom costs 1 mana and draws 3, but I don't have but the opal is not online. So they got 4 cards in their hand. We consign the Myco Spawn. One of their 4 cards is the Vexing Bauble again. There's so much incidental graveyard hit. Using up your own graveyard for Delve is a large part. Yeah, I agree. The Delve is also awkward with the lesson. So I think that the 4th Time Warp is better than the 1st Temporal Trespass. I could be convinced otherwise. Just a lot of angles here. All right, they replay the Vexing Bauble. All right, well let's. I guess I don't really want to loot with this hand. It's probably still correct too. Interesting. Yeah, this does let me go now Otawara the Trinisphere and then and accumulate wisdom this turn. Isn't Vexing Bauble Trinisphere a non-bow? I guess it is a little bit of a non-bow, yeah. Do you have a fixed approach when you have to replicate Consign? I always target the most important things first in case it misclick. I guess I'm just not that worried about misclicking with it. So no. Yeah, I do think some Hercules recalls will be good in the sideboard. Could this show Louise sacrifice a fetch land on turn 1? I'm gonna guess Louise sacrifice is not legal in modern. So let's read the card. As a additional cost to cast a spell, sack a legendary creature or pay 2. Counter target act. Oh, this card. I mean, I think this card sucks. I think like sacking a legendary creature to like and a card to stun your opponent isn't good. I would just spend the extra mana to trick bind. Okay, so let's go Otawara Trinisphere. And draw 3. And not a very good 3. Okay, don't really. Oh no! Wait, it's okay. It's okay. I forgot to tap the opal for mana, but we get Metalcraft again. But we get to do the awesome untap Emry line with Minamo. So their hand is going to be Trinisphere, Vexing Bauble, and then two mystery cards. And then the next card under that is a Talisman. No, I don't think I want to flip the Tamiyo on their turn because then they just get to attack it really profitably. Plus, I kind of want the clue token, but we could have cracked it on their turn. Do you have a 4th Myco Spawn? A Chalice on 0. A Vexing Bauble, a Trinisphere. Okay, their hand is Trinisphere Mystery card, and they're drawing another Trinisphere next turn. I can beat this. Maybe. I'll try to beat this, maybe I should say. Alright, so flip Tamiyo. Another Accumulate Wisdom, although now we're back down to 0 lessons in the yard. So what's kind of nice is the Vexing Bauble doesn't really do anything because I'm always going to be spending mana to cast spells. Casting I get to cast 1 spell here unless I Boomerang Basics the Trinisphere. So I could go Boomerang Basics Trinisphere and cast Drum. And I could cast Tamiyo. Yeah. Seems fine. I guess I don't get any Emry value, but casting Tamiyo is good because they don't have a good attack. And maybe we'll get some more lessons in the yard by starting to tap Gran-Gran. Because that's one more less than the yard. And pass back. Would love to find some Time Warps and or Legend of Kuruk, so the ultimating Tamiyo seems like a fine plan here. They go ahead and sack the Vexing Bauble. I guess that makes sense. Not really doing anything. Their hand is Trinisphere, Talisman of Impulse, and 2 mystery cards. What's the upside for Oboro? You can put it in your hand and loot it away to Gran-Gran or the blue red listen, the abandoned attachments. Yeah, then Minamo untaps Emry, but they were asking about Oboro. It actually came up last night that I put this in hand and looted it away. All right, so probably not a great attack for them, not the biggest deal. I'm going to be kind of inclined to minus the Tamiyo and flip the other one maybe this turn. Maybe not. Let me go ahead and float a mana, tap the Gran-Gran, loot away this Opal. We find a Time Warp. It's obviously a pretty big deal. Yes, I think we just cast Time Warp plus Tamiyo. We could also, yeah, it's not, I guess not really any different from minusing. So another Time Warp probably just wins the game because I'll get the ultimate the Tamiyo for sure. Z's. Wow. Nice double Chalice or Chalice double Trinisphere Vexing Bauble. I guess we'll see if we loot away. Okay, I don't want to flip the Tamiyo, so just attack. Now I do only have one actual Time Warp left in the deck because I boarded one out with all the consigns, but being able to draw into consign is, you know, pretty good too. Let's go ahead and get another clue token, because why not? Actually, why yes is the water bending with the Legend of Kuruk probably matters. Okay, so we'll draw a ton of cards. It's always funny to flip Tamiyo with something like this. Do I have 2 Boomerang Basics? I see one. I see only one. There's also a sink. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gran-Gran online. We'll be looting away Accumulate Wisdom unless, I guess, I think probably even just always this. We don't really need to, it's kind of scary to be drawing more cards. And then we'll play a Legend of Kuruk. Don't want to draw either of these. So I can go 3 mana to bounce the Trinisphere. 1 mana to Boomerang Basics on the Chalice. And they just concede. Nice. Alright, let's keep this. Maybe a turn 2 Legend of Kuruk here. On the draw against Boros again, unfortunately. Just need to be on the play. Let me see what my top card is. It's another Bauble. Alright, maybe they'll disrespect Gran-Gran. I did have a Jeskai opponent who just, like, didn't kill Gran-Gran when they could have, like, and, like, just let me have it in play and, like, tap it to drum, like, for 3 turns. And they could have killed it because they were saving their removal spells for other stuff because they were just disrespecting it. And then finally, after I think on the 4th turn of Gran-Gran looting and discounting stuff, they Galvanic Discharge it, but they only spent 1 energy because they thought this they didn't realize how tough she is. 1 lander, huh? Boros players keep so many 1-landers. It's kind of wild. Save me, Avatar Kuruk. I haven't thought about Urza Saga or Urza in this deck. So most of our artifacts are Moxin, so Urza is not usually good if that's the case. Like Urza is good when you have non artifacts to kind of turn into Moxin, if that makes sense. That's a good card to know about. I cracked up my turn because the Legend of Kuruk means if I didn't crack on my turn, then the Tamiyo couldn't flip. Another lesson we've learned. Yeah, Mana Tithe has become kind of stock in Boros. Not like exactly stock, but like pretty close. Some one-line Boros hands look too good to ball. They were on the play though. To take the mulligan. Or don't. Maybe I don't want them to. That is enough lessons. I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll just keep this abandoned attachment so I can discard it to the other one, and then that would be at least my third lesson after the wisdom. All right, another Gran-Gran. Although with the non-active or the Kuruk that's not about to draw me a card, I'm gonna crack on their upkeep. We do still know they have a Mana Tithe in their hand, and then they're also drawing a Arid Mesa for turn, so it's second land unlocked. If they can get two guide triggers, like if they played a Johnny, they can kill my flip Tamiyo. Oh yeah, I would not play Mirror Box. Fun card though. So we need one more energy trigger here. All right, so now they can jump the Pride again, or I guess they could jump the guide, and they can kill my Tamiyo. They're letting me kill a cat for no reason. One permanent short of Kitty's Blessing, I think. Three spells in their hand also. Oh, I forgot about the Bauble draw. Okay. Would love to be able to attack to trigger the Gran-Gran. I think we'll just go discard the island. We're about to draw 5 cards, so it should be okay. I can't flip the Tamiyo. I've already drawn too many cards, but I could cast the Tamiyo. I guess I don't have Metalcraft. Maybe I want to bounce this. I can cast 2 spells unless I draw something off the Boomerang Basics, of course. The Basics also gives me more Spirit tokens, which is obviously nice. I guess I play Emry instead because I could just play and flip the Tamiyo next turn. Zero time warps in the yard, so 4 in the deck to draw into. Plus we might get to waterbend this. I did mill another accumulate wisdom, so I only have 2 left in the deck. So if they can't jump the Ocelot Pride, this isn't the scariest. Although I guess they can. I've got pretty good blockers for it. All these 1/2s. Yeah, so for Waterbend 20, you get to take an extra turn. And it's exhaust, so you can only activate it once. But it plays pretty well in this specific deck. All right, so they kill my Kuruk, sacking their cats. I don't think they have any. Yeah, they just have no attacks there, though. Any chance the audio's back? Again, the audio has been breaking like this every day. It is a very hard issue to diagnose. Yeah, it just shuts off. It says on my end that it's still on. It happens like once a stream. It's very very odd. It is like one of the weirdest things, and I have no idea what's going on, and I don't know how to fix it. Okay, so can we find a time warp? Nope. Kind of crazy to have not found one yet. I don't think it made sense to attack with the wolves last turn. I saw someone asking about it, but the problem with attacking with the wolves is also I guess I need to legend roll the amber first. Oh, I guess I could have tapped the wolf to a spirit token. But they got blocked by some, and I need to be able to waterbend 20. All right, so they kill my Tamiyo. Yeah, I know that the wolves can't block. That doesn't mean we had a good attack with them. All right, so we get another loot. We have 21 cards in the deck left. 3 of them are time warps. I want to keep spells for my Kuruk, I guess. They're at a big life total, 43. We still have 2 accumulate wisdoms left in the deck, too. Oh, they can't be blocked? Okay, sorry. I totally thought they could be blocked. So -6 damage. Sorry about that. -12 damage. Didn't the opponent have lethal? Maybe they did. All kinds of mistakes over here, huh? So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is +1, so we'll say 14, although milling 4 could be kind of risky here. We did mill a time warp. I think we have like exactly enough to Kuruk. If we can't, we're gonna lose, so we'll just play it all out and then see. So this is gonna be. I think this is 19 or 20, but we'll see. Oh, it's 18. Coming up short. Okay, game 2. 10 lands is crazy. We have a sync, so it's 14 if you count those. I feel like I didn't really like the lantern so much. I think I'll play like 1 over a Bauble. But again, just try to go over the top like we tried to there. You have a terminal case of read the fucking card spike. Thank you. A lot of text on this card, a lot of new cards for first time. Attacking and blocking not the biggest part of modern. Maybe Harbingers to mean the metal on the play. I think it's a bad idea. It's at the very least kind of not even really something I care a lot about testing. Have I considered Spirit Water Revival? I think that card sucks in decks like this where like it's not even like a consideration when you have no Pinnacle Emissary, you know? When the vast majority of your artifacts are Moxin, you're not good at water bending big spells like this, like until you Legend of Kuruk, which already has a built-in water bending outlet, although it's very expensive. I'm just not really a believer in this card, but I could be wrong. I did test Secret of Bloodbending. I had Pinnacle Emissary. It was okay, but I found Time Warp Kuruk to be a lot better. Okay, we're on to play. Seems like I would prefer to lead on Tamiyo instead of Emry so that I have the ability to get Metalcraft. Could I guess I'll play around Vexing Bauble. Yeah, shuffling your yard is awkward with Gran-Gran and then the accumulate wisdom. Although you could, I guess, just be in on that instead of the lesson stuff. So they have Mana Tithe. Let's mill 3 lessons. Okay, just 1. How do you have Galvanic Discharge and you don't Galvanic Discharge the Tamiyo? It doesn't make any sense. I want to congratulate you not flipping out when you read haters. Part of being content creator. I mean, the thing is, something I've learned. Even I don't think I did a good job bantering back. But when someone goes, "Spike, you have a terminal case of read the fucking card," they aren't hating. They're it's just banter. You know, this is not a serious thing to flip out over. There are some people who are like consistently rude, and I try to talk to them, but it's just not that serious. Just cards. Even if it's a little annoying, it's not really a big deal. All right, do we flip the Tamiyo, or do we double 1-drop? I think I want to double 1-drop here. Didn't mill any more lessons, though. Oh, wait, did I? I did mill a lesson, okay. All right, they only care about killing Emry. Maybe they have Wrath Disguise. That would get my whole board here. Jeez. I guess that makes sense why they'd want to go so hard after Emry. So really punished for not going for the Tamiyo flip. Kind of hard to play around second discharge. Wrath Disguise, maybe? Maybe not. Gran-Gran, we do have all the lessons in the yard, so I think I'll take this. They got 5 cards in their hand. Three cards now. Hopefully we draw another Accumulate Knowledge. That would be really sick. Springleaf Drum would be really sick. All right, I think we'll keep it moving here. You never lost to Wrath Disguise before. I think we can try this on the play. What do you think? Would you mulligan this hand? I think I would keep this on the play with right now. It's possible this hand is like a little slow. Is this the flare airship deck? Obviously not exactly like our build since they're playing Colony Garden. Colony Garden's kind of an interesting addition. Good at Yogg, good with Tower, so I think it's one that makes some sense. I think I'll go ahead and play this now. Flare ship, yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe it was wrong to crack the Bauble, because if I just played Opal, I could Time Warp next turn. So they have a turn 2 Cub. 2 mana after this to play a Birthing Ritual. Okay, opponent is cooking. Greys are pretty good with Birthing Ritual, I guess. So they do sack the Grazer and they find a Bowmaster. So Bowmaster is pretty good against us. I think also kind of especially good against our specific hand here. I could bounce the Ritual. They just have so much mana. I think I need to let the Bowmaster get triggered one time here and keep it moving a little bit. Now, the good news about Accumulate Wisdom is that it does not actually trigger Orcish Bowmaster. So let's see if we can mill a third lesson. We do not mill a third lesson. So let's not play this right now. I think I would like to be able to turn this into a draw 3 because that seems like kind of what we need to do here. Although this is my opponent's board after as they untap for their third turn. I really do think these Grazer, like the Grazer builds of Yogg, are pretty good. I don't know if they're playing Airship in their deck though, if they have Birthing Ritual. Seems like they don't have a Yawgmoth, they don't have an airship, they don't have a Chord of Calling, so all that's kind of good news. They do have a Sephiroth. Not even sure they're on Yogg. I guess they could be something else, but the great like usually Grazer wants you to play 4-drops, which almost certainly is Yogg. All right, I'm gonna go and cycle Bauble. Gonna get pinged by Bowmaster. Something Dingo would never allow. He would just not draw a card here. The Legend of Kuruk. All right, so we'll use this to enable the other one, I guess. Boomerang Basics seems okay. The thing is, we can't keep the Bowmaster off the field with it. I think we'll still grab it. Really, really nice that this just doesn't trigger Bowmaster. Okay, so looks like we are pretty priced into playing a Legend of Kuruk, which is gonna kill our own Emry here. But then we're gonna try to pop off. What about lesson version with Rao? I think you could maybe do that. There's a lot of angles. I only just now kind of feel like the lesson stuff is even playable at all. So it's just it'll take some time to determine if we feel like how where else we can go with this. Not triggering Bowmaster here is obviously really cool. How many wisdoms do I have left in the deck? I have 2 still. So they hit me for 5 down to 7. They have Sephiroth in their hand. They maybe just want to leave up 2 mana to like replay a Bowmaster also. Hoping they tap out so we can like make use of the abandoned attachments maybe. Blue mana has hit the battlefield. Neoform? Shardless Agent is in their deck. Well, we get to see some more of the list, I guess. Giraffe's Messenger. Hard to imagine they have Giraffe's Messenger with no Yawgmoths around. Do they have... I guess this could also be potted into Yawgmoth. Wow, and so that's going to win the game with the Sephiroth in play. Agent is crazy here. But you do really need more 3-drops. All right, so we're gonna bring in Cursed Totem. We're gonna cut Emry and click submit. Yeah, Bone Stick is sick. Yeah, just like one big problem with Birthing Ritual and Yogg is that you just have so few good 3s. So Agent does make a good bit of sense in that regard. Not so sure about the Giraffe's Messenger. Yeah, but the plan against Yogg is just bring in the totems, cut the Emrys. I think it's an okay plan at the moment. No Ashiok. Ashiok is. Why do you think Ashiok's good against them? They don't play Court of Calling anymore. It's basically 3 mana turn off their fetch lands, which is just I don't know. I don't get it. I don't. People keep asking about Ashiok against Yawgmoth, but they probably don't have Green Sun Zenith in their deck either because of Shardless Agent. Most builds aren't playing Court of Calling. I don't know. A lot of ritualists will play one Messenger. I do like Messenger. It seems so hard to cast though. Is like kind of the biggest thing. Ashiok does not stop ritual. You don't search. You just look at the top of your library. So just genuinely asking why you want it, because it's a card that gets suggested so much, but I don't think it really makes that much sense. So I probably will flip the Tamiyo turn 2 if they don't play a Mana Dork, in which case I guess I'll go to Cursed Totem. Greys are notably pretty good against Cursed Totem. Ritual isn't on the Dredger's Rumble subs, so they're much more likely to have Chord. I agree they're more likely to, but I also think that Chord is bad with Grazer Flare. And when I play Grazer Flare, I'm less likely to play Chord. But you're right, it's possible. Yeah, Totem's really good against Badgerable Cub. I won a match last night based on it. All right, so just -1 mana for them. Find it out the hard way, I guess. I think we sack the clue here. I'm going to be a mana short of casting this Legend of Kuruk now. Do you want to back up Totem? I think I'll just take the land. Yeah, it's true. We can't Waterbend 20 while the Totem's in play. Although you could Boomerang Basics it, honestly, by the time you're at that point. Okay, should have kept the extra Totem, I guess. They have a Sage. Oh, sorry, I probably saw the Besaju. Just forgot. So probably get rid of one of my lessons here. Maybe they'll just drain me for one, though. They do go after a lesson. All right, let's play the Legend of Kuruk and then see what develops. Another copy of Boomerang Basics. So I guess we can go ahead and meet the 3 lessons in the yard requirement kind of comfortably. Although now I guess we go... Let's go Gran-Gran first. Tap it to the drum and loot. Could play a second Legend of Kuruk here if we just discard the basics, play the sync. That seems like it'd be fine. Sure. All right, well, let's try not to die. So yeah, the Dryad Arbor Cauldron thing is a bug. So it's very possible that our showcase challenge run could have gone a bit deeper if that was fixed. Bowmaster's bad for us. Not the end of the world. Ah. Not the end of the world either. So Tamiyo takes 3, and then it's going to take 2 more. And I don't have 3 lessons in my yard anymore. But double time warp's good. Yeah. Let's not keep that against double bowmaster. Oh, sorry, Tamiyo's going to die. Yeah, no thanks. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tank 2 more bowmaster triggers with the Bauble, I guess. So we can get one of them off the field, maybe. Possible that I'm okay letting the bowmaster trigger 2 more times here. We do lose a couple of wolves, though. Let me see what my top card is. Yeah, just an island. Yeah, we're going to need to, unfortunately, keep letting them trigger bowmaster. And then I think I hold this to maybe loot away. Obviously, again, double bowmaster is tough. I don't know exactly how much we need to adjust our plan. This thankfully is a draw 3 that doesn't trigger Orcish Bowmaster. Oh, Mox Amber doesn't tap for any mana with Kuruk as its colorless. A bit interesting. So I can't Waterbend if I play the Cursed Totem. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm not super far away. I think I should still play it. You could loot Oboro away if in the late game. That's about it. Right, I think I need to sync that work. So they reset their Earthbent land here. I could try getting in with some spirit tokens. I think my plan is to find a Boomerang Basics and I can Boomerang my Cursed Totem and then activate Kuruk. Although I guess that plan doesn't make a lot of sense because if that's if they target the Kuruk now with the Bowmasters, then they can stop it. I don't draw anything though. Okay, tough one. Let's go ahead and add some Hercules recalls to the sideboard and do one more. Not doing a lot of winning, but this deck is just so tough to understand. Probably can go down like second Ashiok, third Lantern, fourth Consign. I don't really like bringing in 4 Consigns against Eldrazi. I wanted one less. Well, I guess I I didn't necessarily hate having the 4th one, but I felt like I kind of wanted to have the 4th Time Warp still in the deck. The Time Warp plan seemed pretty good against them. Is there a reason Time Sieve package doesn't work? Is there anything the Time Sieve package is good with in this shell? We're not really making a lot of artifacts every turn. Okay, on the draw against Devour of Destiny. Yeah, we could go into VV Cauldron also. There's a lot of different angles. All right, they exiled 2 Ulamogs and 2 mines, so I wonder if they're playing the planetarium. Probably a great draw for them. I guess that's what they okay. We'll concede to turn 2 card on the play. Think that's fine. I do think Harbinger is a lot better against Tron than it is against the normal Eldrazi builds. I don't know if I want to play all 3. This could be a good split. And then I wanted to play 4. I wanted to play 4 Time Warps, but maybe with the Harbingers, that's not the case. Maybe I could go down a Legend of Kuruk, since these kind of fill a similar spot on the curve. All right, mulligan this. Okay, usually I play Gran-Gran before Tamiyo because sometimes the loot can help you flip the Tamiyo. Although with no Bauble in our hand, I guess it's kind of tough to see how that would happen here. Still, I think I'm going to even just value the loot more than the clue token. My question was, does the legend work in the Time Sieve deck? That the tokens you make are they're not artifacts. All right, so another Labyrinth start and printed the Devourer again. Into another Talisman. Pretty good. Maybe they're through the breach. No, I don't think you can play Gran-Gran and Asmo. It's just too many like packages of cards and that don't really do anything. All right, we'll see if we get turn 2 Karned again. Maybe Harbinger can still contend if they do that. I think we're going to discard the Wisdom, get a second lesson in the yard here. Maybe you can get a third lesson in the yard with the Emry, although the Emry at the moment is pretty pricey. So maybe I want to discard the Time Warp so that if I mill a lesson off the Emry, I can hold up Sync. I think that's okay. Somewhat likely. Although we did not hit. So if my top card is a Consign, I'll shock. It's not, so we'll just play this tapped. Or I guess it's untapped anyways. They got a spell. It's a Relic of Progenitus, which is pretty good here. Okay, I mean, I'll exile the Harbinger of the Seas, and then you can exile the whole graveyard if you like. Yep. Dismembers the Harbinger. Do you have Tron? It's not this turn. Well, not looking great. A lot of cards with no Kuruk, no Consigns, I guess. Also, are they through the breach? I guess they're not. They're playing this Ulamog, so they're not. Could maybe have been right to attack with the Emry since their life total is kind of low. Upside of finding a Bauble is really high when we're so low on resources here. I guess I'm probably going to end up bouncing my Emry with Boomerang Basics to try to fill the graveyard, so I guess we'll attack with both. Well, I get really rewarded. Yeah, I think it's just not worth it. All right, so 1 mana draw 3. Draw 3. Hold up replicated Consign or 2 Consigns. Let's fucking go. I guess we're just going to win now. We have taken an extra turn with Kuruk, yeah. Yeah, crazy what happens when you just don't draw only mana sources. So I guess I don't need to do this. I was thinking I was going to cast the Abandoned Attachments. That doesn't really make that much sense. Okay. They're down. I should have attacked for 1 more again. Bottom both. I might Boomerang Basics my Saga this game. So if I go Boomerang Basics, then I have 3 mana. I guess I'd be a mana short of... I'd be a mana short of Time Warping. So I guess we'll go cast Drum for 0 mana. Tap the Gran-Gran. Tamiyo would be pretty good. I've already drawn too many cards to flip the Tamiyo this turn. Yeah, I think we just bounced that. Another 0 mana Springleaf Drum. Okay, then we'll just take second Consign, play Tamiyo for 1 mana, Drum for 0 mana. Pass? Maybe closing is going to be difficult with only 14 cards in the deck. Should be okay. How many Time Warps do I have left? I've got 1, 2 in the yard, 1 in the exile. So only 1 left in the deck. I guess I don't need Gran-Gran here. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Grandma. Yeah, we did bottom a bunch of cards off the legend here. So let's attack with the Tamiyo since it's about to flip when we play the second legend here. Oh, I guess we'll play Gran-Gran. This is counted by 1. I do think we're gonna find the time warp, so let's find it, and then we'll get the time warp again with the Tamiyo. It has to be this card, right? Oh, sorry, they're all gone. Fuck. Okay. We maybe have found a way to lose a game that wasn't losable by drawing too many cards. I think it's going to be okay though. Do we win? We mill out. We're gonna we should be able to flip a Legend of Kuruk next turn, take an extra turn, and get lethal in, and have Consign to stop them from uh winning the game this turn or breaking this up. So we should be fine. I just did draw way too many cards, thinking that we still had a time warp in the deck, but I misread the situation. Oh wow! It costs you can replicate Consign for one less tap with Gran-Gran. I guess that's what happened last turn too, right? Okay, so we do have to go down a card here. Doesn't really matter. So we have 2 cards left in our deck, then we draw. Seems like we're going to be barely swimming over the finish line here when this game should have been a lot cleaner. Cannot attack with Gran-Gran. So all I need to do is keep the right Kuruk here. And not attack with Gran. I guess I could attack with Gran-Gran. So again, it should have been a much easier game if I had realized the 4th time warp was out there. But nice to be able to win from that position where we're like stumbling a lot and we're not drawing the cards in the right order. Um, maybe I do need to have a 3rd Legend of Kuruk in the deck just for density of win cons. It's like it could be really bad to just Emry over my win cons. I don't know. Let's try it this way. Hard to say no to this hand. My opponent did also keep 7. A 3rd game, a 3rd Devour of Destiny revealed. I did see a chatter say they weren't feeling the deck. I don't know if that. I don't know if once we started to do stuff instead of just kind of flooding out, your mind might be changed. No counter souls. We have consigns in the deck. This is really like a taking turns deck that's trying to play proactively, trying to tap out on your turn. It's not. I don't think it's a great shell for counter magic, or nor could you really have a plan that's just like I'm going to counter your stuff and draw a lot of cards and win. But possible. All right, all 3 games my opponents led on Lab Talisman, which sucks because it's like Lab Talisman just so strong. If they have 2 turn 2 cards, it's just so annoying. It's so hard to have turn 2 Karn. The fact that you have it twice in both games you're on the play is just brutal. Gets the coding. Do have a couple outs. Still not feeling it. Oh, thank you for the feedback. Certainly not sure how good the deck is personally, so I do genuinely appreciate the feedback. So we're looking toward the bounce land here, or the Boomerang Basics to bounce the Karn. One thing that needs to go right is not getting turn 2 Karn, probably. Although we do have some, we could have had a Consign in our opening hand, I guess. Don't even think, so we basics, then we only have 2 mana, so we can't even Harbinger or anything here. I'm gonna keep the 7. Would you really have held up Consign turn 1 over Tamiyo? Yeah, I'm not sure. The turn 2 card is just so tough to beat. I think we do need to lead on the Tamiyo so we can get Metalcraft. How has your Kuruk been? Been good enough? So this is our first deck playing it. I think it fits really well here where we can cast it turn 2. We need more card selection and filtering. I guess when I put... I'm going to attack, whatever. I don't know. Seems like it didn't seem like they F6'd. But in this deck, I think it is... oh, okay, sorry. I messed up. I need to play the drum first. Okay, I guess we'll pay back. It's hard to walk and talk sometimes. In this deck, I think it fits the role really well. It's like it's a combination powerful 4-drop card advantage spell, which we're kind of looking forward to ramp into, and a win condition, and it plays well with the time warps, which the time warps have felt really important so far. Oh, I could have flipped the Tamiyo last turn too, so I just missequenced as we as I have a hard time walking and talking. Okay. I think I will Boomerang Basics again, because if I draw a land or a Mox, I can Kuruk. We don't, so we just play the Emry. I don't really see a lot of reason to play the Opals out. We do also have 2 lessons in the yard to start getting this going. Maybe they are... I guess they're Neoform and they kept a good hand without a land. So we might just be dead now. I did beat Neoform yesterday just like with my bounce spells. It's kind of nice. All right, great. Just get the 3rd lesson in the yard. Now all my non-creature spells cost 1 less. Seems like I want to try to time warp my opponent here. Maybe they have a Consign. Yeah, I tried Pinnacle. I didn't feel like it played very well in the deck. Like without a like Capicated or more comprehensive beatdown plan, I just have liked Kuruk and Time Warp a lot more. Something like Profs instead of the warps to represent pressure earlier instead of going more turns. Well, what I like about Time Warp compared to something like that is Time Warp it lets you win games that you're really behind in. Any other option is not going to let you be really behind on board and then just churn things together to win the game, for the most part. And I certainly think being able to churn together these like convoluted wins are important because you are going to be behind on board really often just with how this deck naturally plays. Okay, so if I play the Legend of Kuruk, yeah, just not gonna have enough mana to Kuruk and Time Warp. But this Tamiyo represents 2 extra turns, and it's extra turns while we get to activate Gran-Gran and Emry. So it seems like good. You may need to have 14 to 16 lessons. I agree. It would be nice to have some more. There are very few options that are even considerable. I did try blood-bending lessons, and I did not think that card was very good. I think I have enough to Kuruk and Time Warp. I don't really care about drawing this. Do care about drawing that. Buried Alive could only put creatures in the yard. Not that I think your comment is serious. But if it is, otherwise you just see Buried Alive for 3 Creeping Chills as like a package. And I guess you don't need the third sync. I would keep the second though. I lied, I guess. Just don't really need it, I guess. We're you know, game's kind of over. Am I really set on being mono blue? Not necessarily. Although I don't really think Iroh's demonstration is particularly good. I think like Price of Freedom would be better. I guess it's going to be better to minus the Tamiyo twice than it is to ultimate it. Not that I really need to obsess over either choice because this game is over deterministically. But you know, this is just the onboard. The onboard your dead opponent. Opponent maybe wants to see some more, and who can blame him, huh? Probably not cracking this Bauble. Think I'm not attacking with Gran-Gran. It doesn't. Whatever. Doesn't matter. This game's over. Just. Okay, I'm gonna draw 3. Yeah, I think playing Iroh's demonstration against Boros would be like fine. It seems like to me that the red build is maybe just a little bit of a different deck or a lot of a different deck. Okay, go to game 2, up a game against Neoform. Guess I have -1 Ashiok. I think I boarded both of these in, or all 5 of them in last night when I played the matchup. So I think we could probably go down. We can't afford to be really light on win cons against them. You could play Blue Medallion. Definitely an option. Is this ever a Saga deck? So I know it's a little bit weird we're not playing Saga. My reasoning for not playing Saga is this could be okay. My reason for not playing Saga is that we are a I think I'll YOLO this one. We are a deck that needs to have minimum 14 blue sources. We need to play a lot of Moxen. We also need to play Springleaf Drum. Right now we have 25 mana sources in a deck with a pretty low mana curve. And I don't really like, I would love to keep that number as low as possible. So adding Saga seems kind of tough. Obviously Saga is a mana sink too, so it's not just a clear problem or a clear fix, but the colorless land in this deck is really like a disaster in a way that almost no other deck like this has been. Which is why I'm not playing it, but we could be playing it. So no second lands. Hopefully just draw Mox Amber and hold up Sync / the looters here. Yeah, I think we just flip all Tamiyo here. We could cast the Abandoned Attachments instead, but it's like they could have Dispute. I think I just want to flip the Tamiyo and oh, they have Consign for the trigger? Oh, okay. Fair enough. Do they top deck the land? Nice addition to the hand. Maybe I want to play the drum and hold the second sink. I think I'll play the second sink. And then we'll just have the ability to flip Tamiyo end of turn if we don't need to cast the sink. By oh, sorry, I don't have a clue. Duh, never mind. I have no clue. How this idea develop? What was the egg? I mean, the lessons deck in standard doing so well, and a lot of people have asked me if Gran-Gran is a playable modern card, and I set out to find out the answer to that question. And I was kind of immediately a lot more impressed with it than I expected to be, and then we went from there. So this is lesson number 2. I could play the sink and I could cast Time Warp. I feel like that might be really dumb. All right, I'm going to go ahead and think that that's really dumb. They do keep a card on top. Yeah, I did think about Storm Chaser's talent. If you are, if I would love to, I could be sold on Storm Chaser's talent. It is possible. Absolutely, it's possible. I think this is gonna be my bait for Mystical Dispute. Nice. All right, so we'll play sweet old Gran-Gran. Although I think I just play Harbinger with the ability to pay for dispute. You could slam Vivi the stick somewhere. Well, it's you have to do more than just play Vivi. I do think Vivi is interesting. All right, let's let that go. So to consign this. Land, Rider, Pitch, Neoform. Yeah, they can't have that and Pact of Negation. Okay, we can pay for dispute here. Take an extra turn. Flip the Tamiyo. Otawara kind of good in this matchup too. Nice. Yeah, this matchup felt weirdly good last night too. I don't know. Ooh, this is a nice hand. I think we'll keep backup Grandma here. Ah. Not coming turn 2 at least. All right, see if we mill 2 more lessons. We mill 1 more lesson. So now this is going to be active Gran-Gran. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just draw 3. Do I want to get I don't think I care that much about getting the drum down. We'll just go ahead and let our opponent take a turn. I still have 3 Legend of Kuruks and 4 Time Warps in the deck. There's a Time Warp. Remember, the drums do cost 0 mana here. I guess we cycle a Boomerang. Got rewarded. Sync would be kind of good. Just buy me a turn. So we draw 3 cards, including our draw step. Not good. Then we also get a loot off the Gran. Pretty shitty draws. This is Minamo. I know someone's like, we get to untap Emry, but this is Minamo, not, or Oboro, not Minamo. Swamp. Yeah, they just play Besageable basic and then also basic wastes. You can pick up a Oboro and you can loot it away. Ah, little too deep in the deck, I guess. 7 mana? Good plus Ugin? Can work with this, I guess. Kind of punished for not playing out the drum. Yeah, but now I get to Otawara the Ugin, so they don't get to exile my Emry. Gran-Gran was the better one for them to hit, though. Miss my grandma. Cycle the Mox Opal basically there. Gonna be tough to pull out from this point. So we need to find Sync. Save Grandma with Otawara. I guess I could have. I think even Sync isn't going to do it here. Yeah, let's go to game 2. So I'm going to go to -2 Kuruks, although then I kind of regretted that last time. Yeah, I think maybe just cut all the drums since Gran-Gran just gets to attack in this matchup. Maybe the first one's better than Mox Opal number 4. I could see that being the case when you go down to Opal and we cut artifacts. Down to 1 Emry. Let's do this. Kuruk, this next only win con? Yeah, it's a good win con with the time warps. Been pretty reliable. Okay, so if I Boomerang Basics turn 1, I can flip Tamiyo if I draw Mox Opal, Mox Amber, or another Boomerang Basics. So I'm keeping. They did Flesh Drinker, she may have more trouble attacking. That's a good point, yeah. So maybe we should have more drums. That's true. We could pseudo scry with the Emry. It's a good call. So we don't draw one of the few cards that would let us flip to Tamiyo turn 1. And then they draw kind of the worst top deck, usually Devourer of Destiny. They do have a Dismember for my Tamiyo, which is bad for me. And a Chalcen 0. It's pretty bad for me too. Although we could bounce this. I get really punished for not playing my Amber again, I guess. Second Tron piece. A bit weird. I'm going to discard, I think. Maybe just the Amber. Okay. So we do have 3 lessons in our yard. My opponent has Natty Tron. Ah. Tough. Natty Tron plus Dismember plus Chalice. Right on time. You know, I kind of feel okay about the 2 losses being to like this and to turn 2 Karn. I think that's just like losses I'm okay with. Let's do 1 more, just get a few more reps, and then I'm certainly open to like rebuilding lessons with a different plan. But you know, after one night,